All right. How's it going, guys? So I decided to title this The Ugly Duckling. You may be wondering why the ugly duckling? When was the last time you heard this story? When was the last time you heard the story about the ugly duckling? I thought about it this week. I was talking to a young lady, and she was talking about how what we do might impact other people. And one of her biggest roadblocks was sharing before and after pictures because she felt like we were fat shaming people. And I sat and listened to her, and the only thing I could think of was this story. And I looked at her and I said, "Do you understand that you're not trying to shame anyone when you share those pictures? You're trying to show someone what's possible and what health can look like. It's not a matter of saying, you know, that you shouldn't look the way you look. That's not the point. You shouldn't feel the way you feel. That's the point." And the ugly duckling stuck in my head. So let's review the story. The mother duck had a bunch of eggs, and she waited patiently for them to hatch, and all but one hatched. But that one was larger and a different color than all the other eggs. No one understood why. And all the baby chicks, all the baby ducklings wanted to go to the lake and go swimming. But mom said, "No, we have to wait for this egg to hatch." So they were impatient and they were cackling and they wanted to go. They wanted to go. She said, "No, we're going to wait. We're going to just let this baby come. All my babies will, I love you all the same." Well, the egg finally cracked, and out came this very odd looking duck. To the ducks that were there, didn't look like them, didn't act like them, didn't seem like them. So when they went to the pond, even the other ducks that were there made fun of the ugly duckling. Sound familiar yet? This is what happens to us in life. We start living our lives based on other people's perceptions of us. We're ugly. We're fat. We're this, we're that. No, none of those things are you. And as this duckling finds out later on, because finally he has enough of it, and he says, "I'm not staying here anymore. I'm moving on." He moves on, and he finds a pond where there's other swans sitting there looking at him going, "Wow, you're incredibly beautiful. You're one of the best looking swans we've ever seen." He's like, "Me?" And he looks in the water at his reflection and he realizes he's not a duck. He's a swan. And that changed his whole life because his perception of himself was seeing his real inner being, not what everyone else thought he was. And that story just stuck with me about that whole conversation because I don't want you to think that I don't think that you should do whatever. I think that you can do whatever you want to do. I think that you can be whoever you want to be. I think you can live whatever life you want to live. But also, the problem is that other people and society heap expectations on us. They expect us to be a duck, get in line, waddle like this, live your life in the pond, swimming around with us because that's all you're supposed to do when you're actually a swan, when you're actually more than they are, and you don't even know it because so much has been layered on top of you over the years from when we're little. I mean, no, 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 you can't. Don't do that. It's dangerous. Now, truthfully, sometimes it is, but do well intentioned people tell us not to do things to protect us thinking they're helping us when they could actually be hindering our growth or stopping us from becoming a swan. And maybe, just maybe, people have ulterior motives too. Because sometimes if you're down in the muck with somebody and you start rising up out of the muck and you start looking at your reflection and saying, "Look at this, man. I'm a swan." You go, "No, no, 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 no. You're just an ugly duck. Get back down here. Stay here with us because you know what? We'll miss you when you become a swan. We don't want you to become a swan. Be an ugly duck." Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. And that's why when people do that to you, you need to push back and say, "No, I need to do for me," right? People of faith always say God first, but the second person should be you. You are second. I was just on an airplane twice this week. Actually, I was on 4 airplanes this week. Connecting flights. And many of you know the story. When you get on an airplane, they run through the safety things, seat belts. The oxygen masks is the big one, right? Because when the oxygen mask comes down, what do they tell you? And you're all going to say this in your head, or at least in public, when you're sitting there watching this, you're going to say it before I do. Okay, what do they tell you to do with it before you help somebody else? Put the oxygen mask on yourself. Why? Because if you don't put yourself ahead of everybody else, you're never going to be able to help them. How deep is that? Do you think Mike from 5 years ago would have been able to help you understand what a healthy lifestyle was? No way. I didn't even know what it was myself. I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the habits. I didn't have anything in place. I was swimming around with the other ducks. I was the ugly duck stuck at the pond, swimming around, everybody making fun of me. Everybody telling me, "Nah, don't worry about it. You're fine." And I wasn't fine. I was on too many medicines. I was on too much alcohol. I smoked entirely too many cigars. And I was carrying around 50 extra pounds that I didn't need and didn't help me. But until I found the pond that accepted me and said to me, "You're beautiful, but you're unhealthy," I couldn't see my way clear of that. And that is the truth about what we do. It's not about shaming anyone. It's about connecting with people and helping them achieve better health. Really simple. What can we do to help you feel better? Possibly come off medication. Possibly. I did. That's my testimony, right? Um, but again, until you put yourself out there, right? If you believe in God, God first, you second. If you believe in yourself or another being, whatever, you have to go first. You have to go first. Put your oxygen mask on and then help others. That's what we're doing. This program breathed life back into me. Joan will tell you that I was a dead man 5 years ago. I have 2 stents in my heart. I drank too much. My diabetes was out of control. All of these things. I was not active at all. Okay. Now, totally different life. Cannot wait for this weekend so I can get the kayaks out in the water because the weather's breaking and this will be a good weekend to go take the kayaks out. And then I can look at myself in the water in the lake and see my reflection and see what a beautiful swan I am. And you should do the same. And if you don't feel like a swan, let's talk. because I know for a fact you are one, and we can help you find that swan. All right, guys, have a great day. See you later. Love yous.